Our first guest tonight is an Emmy Award-winning actor, screenwriter, and producer you know from shows like 6 Feet Under and The Leftovers. He stars in The Mosquito Coast, which premieres on Apple TV Plus with the first 2 episodes this Friday. Let's take a look.
Where is it?
Where's what?
Oh, no, he's still here, Josh. How you doing?
Please welcome back to the show, Justin Theroux. How are you, Justin?
Hey, man, how are you?
It is really genuinely nice to see you. We have not seen each other for a long time, which is very strange. We are neighbors. We live very close. We famously, my wife and I famously saw you about an hour before she gave birth
That's
to a
right,
child
you and
in our
Alexi
lobby.
walking in the park. I know. I'm part of your birth story.
You are very much a part of our birth story, but I have not seen you at all. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been really good. I've been here most of the time, you know, the whole thing. I was even, oftentimes I would look into your windows thinking you were there, and I wasn't looking into your windows like a creep or anything.
No, like a cool
and then
guy.
I would see like a cool guy looks in the windows. And they would be darkened, and I would be sad, and I would be upset about that. But I miss you in the neighborhood, and I would love to see you.
I actually have had this happen. Look, you and I, we are in show business, and we know that sometimes you will have something going on where a car will be sent to pick you up. And
Yes.
I was walking by your building, and I saw one of those cars, and I thought, oh, I bet this is for Justin. And maybe I'll wait and say hi, but then I realized I was the creep because the driver was just looking at me, and I'm a guy in a mask who just stopped. And I said, you know what,
You're Sharpie.
I'm gonna keep walking. This was something, the timing obviously was not ideal, but you managed to make it through. You opened a bar in the city in 2019. How did you manage through not obviously a great year for a bar?
Well, no, it was not a great year. Look, we're fine with not turning a profit last year. We were, obviously like everybody, it was more about just sort of making sure that everyone got to keep their job and that, we shut down only for a couple months actually, and then Mr. de Blasio is doing a bang-up job by banging up the city. Let us open again and serve booze outside, and which also is not ideal in the cold winter months. But yeah, everyone was basically able to sort of maintain. We were able to keep the bar open, so it's wildly open, and we've almost kind of doubled with the outdoor space now, which is really fun. We're quickly making our way back. But it was that thing. It was actually kind of cool. All the restaurants and bars and all kind of started doing these sort of, I guess, collabs, for lack of a better word, where we'd serve burgers or pizzas from, a Brooklyn pizza place, or we'd have, we would do like food and drinks and stuff. We were able to keep the whole thing afloat.
I will say yesterday was a very warm night in New York City, and as I was leaving the show, day after the CDC basically said you don't have to wear a mask outside, New York felt 100% back last night.
I know, and especially over where we live, where there's also a lot of the youths. The park started to just look like a Berlin, summer festival or something. It was so schizophrenic. There were people like skateboarding and doing wheelies and light sticks and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I felt like an old man where I was like, I miss the old days.
I know.
The kids had to stay inside. Hey, you let your dog come to the bar, and we have very different dogs, but very similar colorings on our dogs.
I've only heard about your dog.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name again?
Frisbee. And Frisbee doesn't go out much because she gets cold right away, but I feel like our dogs are like the same color, but very different.
Your dogs looks like the dehydrated version of my dog or something.
If you made, that's like, if you made dog jerky out of that, it would look like that.
Your dog looks like taxidermy with a broken ear.
How dare you? Hey,
Frisbee. I kid with Frisbee.
Of course. Hey, so this is really cool. The Mosquito Coast. It's great. I did not know that your uncle was Paul Theroux, who wrote
Yes.
this book 40 years ago and is a wonderful author who I love a great deal.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I think it never occurred to me he was your uncle is that you say your last names differently.
This is a whole thing. I mean, it's not a whole thing, but it's a thing. You know, he says it's a French name.
Yep.
And it's originally when I check into a hotel in France, they say, oh, you know, bonjour, monsieur Theroux. So it's got a bit hard T sound on it. Then I guess when he came over, they just, to be easier, made it Theroux. And then I guess growing up, no one really got my name correctly. Sort of the neighborhood chose my name, and I'm not going to go up against the whole neighborhood, so they would just say Thoreau, you know, or teachers would mispronounce it. You know, where's Justin Theroux or whatever. So wherever it landed, that's kind of what I stuck with. And then it was too late. And only now that we're doing a show together has this resurfaced as creating a schism in our family.
Did he know this was happening behind the scenes? I know sometimes as an author, you're not familiar or up to date with what's happening.
You know, it looks like it's something we cooked up together, but it was one of those things that, you know, one of, you know, my managers only said, you know, they're doing the Mosquito Coast. It just popped up on our radar, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'd like to read that script. And then I read it, and then I said, it's a really good script. I'd like to do this. So I met with Neil Cross, and then I met with Apple, and then we went down the road, and I ended up signing up for it. And then I got to call him and say, guess what I'm doing with you? And it was just sort of a happy accident. You know, it wasn't planned in that way.
That's just wonderful. This had been a film almost, I guess, like 30 or 40 years ago as well, starring Harrison Ford. This is even maybe a bigger shock to me than the fact that Paul's your uncle. While you were filming this, you randomly met Harrison Ford for the first time.
Yes, totally. I was in Mexico City and staying at a hotel, and he happened to come in to do something else. And a friend of ours notified us and said, hey, you know, Harrison Ford's a mutual friend. He's in the hotel. And I thought, well, can we have dinner or something, or a cup of coffee? And they said, let me put it together. And they put it together. And we had this, you know, one of those private dining room situations where we just had a ton of, you know, tacos and tequila and just sat and gabbed and had like a really long, great, slightly drunken night together. And it was fabulous. It's exactly what you would want a long dinner with Harrison Ford to be like. It's like, it was just, he's such a charmer. Like, he's a lovely man.
That is fantastic, and it is very cool that you are playing the same part as him. And it's always great to see you, buddy. I hope it happens on the street soon.
I hope so too, man.
All right, all the best. The
All right.
Mosquito Coast premieres globally on Apple TV Plus with the first 2 episodes tomorrow, followed by new episodes every Friday.